Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Market Wrap for Tuesday, the 27th of January. And look, today it was a good start to the holiday shortened week, of course, after the long weekend. We did see the Aussie market lifting by a little under 1% today and reaching a 3-month high. Now, at our best level of the day, we were up by 1.2%, and that means we got pretty close to cracking 9,000 points once again for the first time since October, and that left us around 1.5% away from an all-time high, of course, at the best levels of the day today. Now, the gains were seen pretty much across most of the 11 sectors. The materials sector in particular was a big support as it climbed to yet another record high after cracking several records just this year so far, and that's largely because of the continued rally in precious metal prices, with gold rising above $5,100 an ounce for the first time, and silver lifting above $115 per ounce as investors pile into safe haven assets amid rising geopolitical uncertainties and a weaker US dollar. Now, today the gold subsector also reached an all-time high amid those soaring gold prices, and many of the other sectors, including financials, energy, healthcare and consumer sectors, lifted around the 1% mark as well today, while tech and real estate fell very slightly. Now, looking at some of today's winners, BHP reclaimed the top spot, climbing to a 2-year high, reclaiming its position as the most valuable company on the Aussie market. This is, of course, after losing its crown to CBA back in July 2024. Now, this has been a long time coming as we've seen that gap at closing over the past 6 months or so. Now, so far this year, BHP is up a little over 9%, while CBA has pulled back by around 6%. And that means BHP is now sitting roughly 1.5% from its record high, while CBA has fallen 21% roughly from the record high that it hit back in June 2025. And that's really showing a broader shift on the ASX 200, where the dominance of the big banks has recently been challenged by a resurgence in precious metal prices. Elsewhere today, Resolute Mining stood out amongst the gold stocks, doing 5th best today after receiving a target price lift. Silver player Silver Mines Limited saw a solid gain, of course, on the back of those soaring silver prices. And Telix Pharmaceuticals today topped the winners list after announcing details of a new major shareholder who holds 5.5% voting power. Now, on the other end of things, Alcoa did worst on no news in particular. Life360 fell, ending the day as the second worst performer, seemingly on some profit taking after it gained over 27% on Friday after upgrading its full-year guidance. DroneShield lost ground on the back of its quarterly update, and Lynas Rare Earths fell for the first time in 4 sessions after its quarterly update last week showed higher than expected realized prices, which offset softer production and revenue. Now, the Aussie dollar is hovering around a 16-month high against the greenback, which is, of course, softening. So it is currently buying around 69.1 US cents. Now, it's an absolutely momentous week for investors. There's a lot jam-packed into this very holiday shortened week. Of course, tomorrow will be the key thing here. On the local front, we have those quarterly inflation numbers coming out 11:30 a.m. Sydney time. Now, there's roughly a 60% chance that the RBA will actually hike interest rates on their Feb 3rd meeting, and that's, of course, after that hotter than expected jobs number that we got last week. So it really is crunch time. This is the make or break number. So 11:30 tomorrow is going to be absolutely pivotal, and it could really determine whether Aussies see an interest rate hike for the first time in over 2 years. Also, this week we have that Fed interest rate decision being handed down on Thursday morning. It's a different story over there. The Fed is likely to keep rates steady, and there's an expectation that there could be at least 2 interest rate cuts by the end of this year. And of course, we have 4 of the Magnificent 7 handing down their earnings this week. We have Meta, Microsoft and Tesla all out on Wednesday night after the US market closes, and then we have Apple on Thursday night. So it's an absolutely jam-packed week. There's a lot to get through, and let's see how the market responds to tomorrow's CPI number. See you tomorrow.